teachers take steps in their class to provide opportunities for students to have access and equity in thinking about mathematics?
So for me, when I think about access and equity, and I think about instructional routines, instructional practices in classroom, mathematical discourse is significantly important. And when we say mathematical discourse, it's just not that we get students to talk. Definitely we want students to talk, but we also want students to be able to have, you know, be able to talk about their understanding and their representation in the way, even if it's not fully developed or fully informed just yet. It's this idea of, having this interaction to share their thinking that they can then build from one another to deepen each other, deepen their own understanding and one another's understanding as well. And so, so one of the things I really think about is, what does discourse look like in mathematics classroom, and what are the instructional routines or the instructional practices that one engages that kind of supports, different modes of discourse in one's classroom. And not to claim that teachers should have a menu of discourse routines, but I do think that there are some things that, how do you get kids invested in the task that you want to engage in? And one way you might do that is notice and wonder. It's buy-in. And kids don't always have to notice the mathematical thing. They could notice the thing, right? About the task. And if they notice the thing about the task, we can then connect the mathematics to it. And so that might be the initial engagement. Now, how do we then move that engagement along, right? And so what are some of those routines that we might think about engagement, or think about their thinking? And so, many people may know I'm wildly supportive of Mandy Jansen's work around rough draft talk and rough draft thinking, rough draft math. And so I engage in that kind of work as well. And so me, discourse and being participatory. I want to broaden the space of participation so that all students can feel safe enough that that perception of risk taking is not there. They're not taking a risk, they're engaged. They're being participatory. Sometimes students don't want to share their thinking because they feel like they're taking a risk. And so that speaks to the norms of our classrooms. All right. And so, if we can kind of demystify this notion of I'm taking a risk because I don't want to say the wrong thing or give out the wrong answer. No, I just want you to be participatory and engage. You're giving out your answer, and we can then think about that. You're telling us your thinking. I need access to that. If I don't have access to that as a teacher, then how are we going to support one another? You make me a better teacher because I know more about you. I know how you're thinking about this. And we become a better community because we share with one another. And this is what community is all about, right? And so I want students to feel safe. I want them to feel safe. And safe is, is that willingness to feel like they're not taking a risk, that they're just being participatory.